You ever have a neighbor so sure they run the place they call the cops on you for blocking your own driveway? Yeah, that happened. Karen, her name might as well have been stamped in all caps on her mailbox, thought she owned not just her house but the whole street. The joke was, she didn't even realize the street itself legally belonged to me. Every inch of gravel she fussed over was actually mine. It was one of those mornings where the sun felt extra bright. The air smelled like fresh mowed grass, and you just knew the universe had a sense of humor. I stood next to my old red pickup, kind of half amused, half curious, while Karen came marching down the driveway. She hit the sidewalk in a cloud of drugstore perfume and righteous fury, holding her clipboard like it was the Constitution. Neighbors started popping out, pretending to water plants or walk dogs, but really they just wanted a front row seat. I didn't even know Karen's name then. All I knew was the way she wore those huge sunglasses made her look like she was auditioning for the 6 o'clock news. She jabbed a finger at my truck, which was parked so straight you could have drawn a chalk line off the tires, and bellowed, "You can't block the street. You're obstructing traffic." I looked up and down our dead-end cul-de-sac. Yeah, traffic was squirrels and maybe an Amazon guy on a lucky day. But Karen was determined, her voice climbing like a tornado siren. "I've already called the police," she said, waving her phone. "They'll deal with this." I just leaned against my truck and let her perform, thinking, wow, some people really need a hobby. And right on cue, a squad car rolled in Officer Daniels, who looked more tired than irritated. Karen rushed him like she was reporting a major crime. "Officer, this man is blocking the entire street. Nobody can get through." Daniels barely glanced at my truck, then at the wide-open pavement. "Ma'am, there's plenty of space. Emergency vehicles could turn around fine." She wasn't backing down. "He does this every morning? Our HOA rules say..." That was the part that made me laugh inside. See, Maplewood Court hadn't had an HOA for years. It folded after the developer went under, and by some weird twist in the title paperwork, the street ended up as part of my property. I literally owned the asphalt under our feet. So I pulled the deed out of my glove box, handed it to Officer Daniels, and let him read aloud. "Parcel includes the entire cul-de-sac." Karen's face went slack. "That's impossible," she muttered. "Nobody owns the street. Daniels just turned the paper to her." Apparently, someone does. And in that heavy silence with the neighbors peeking through curtains, you could feel her power leaking away. She tried denial. "It must be fake. You can't own public roads." Daniel shrugged. "Happens in old neighborhoods all the time. County database can confirm it." That was the first crack in her armor. The cop handed back the deed, told Karen there was no violation, and suggested she have a nice day. She gave me a look that could melt steel, but I just nodded and said, "Don't worry, Karen. I'll make sure my truck never inconveniences you again." She stomped off, muttering. I knew that moment wasn't the end. It was the starting gun for a neighborhood drama nobody asked for. That night, as I watched Karen rearrange her lawn gnomes with militaristic precision, it dawned on me she wasn't just upset about my truck. She was upset about losing control. People like Karen don't want order, they want obedience. And when the world doesn't play along, they double down. So I went inside and started digging through my old property records just to see how far her kingdom really stretched. Turns out I didn't just own the street, I owned the sidewalk, the storm drain, the whole green strip between the driveways. I laughed out loud. She thought she could beat me with a clipboard, but I had the one thing she couldn't fake, the law. The next morning, there she was again, clipboard in hand, sunglasses on, telling me I couldn't keep my truck there because it blocked visibility. I pointed to the no trespassing sign I'd planted by my mailbox. She huffed. "You can't put that there. That's public land." I sipped my coffee and said, "No, Karen, that's mine." I walked inside, left her there spluttering. After that, she wasn't just a neighbor, she was an opponent, and honestly, I was kind of enjoying the show. The neighbors started coming out of their shells, sharing stories about how Karen sent fake violation notices for Christmas lights bird feeders, even for leaving bins out a day too long. One old guy, Joe, said she once threatened to fine him for having his porch lights on past midnight. The more I listened, the more I realized everyone had been bullied until now. Nobody had stood up. A few days later, Karen taped a bright orange violation envelope to my door, $100 payable to Maplewood HOA. I almost choked laughing. I went online, searched for her association, didn't exist. That's when I installed cameras, started keeping a log. If she wanted a war, I'd play chess, not checkers. She tried everything, measuring property lines, scolding delivery drivers, even stopping a kid on a skateboard. The final straw. She called a tow truck to remove my pickup. The driver took one look at the deed, said, "Sorry, ma'am, can't tow off private property," and drove off. Karen's face turned bright red, like someone unplugged her confidence right in the driveway. That was when the twist happened. A new neighbor, Alice, moved in. She'd just transferred for work, didn't know the history, and Karen immediately tried recruiting her. Alice came to me after getting a welcome packet full of fake rules and told me she felt weird about it. We had coffee, I told her the whole story, showed her the deed, and just like that, Karen lost her first recruit. Still, Karen doubled down, organizing mandatory HOA meetings in her driveway, passing out forms, barking orders. This time, I called her out. "Under what legal authority are you issuing fines?" She stammered, tried to pivot, but the neighbors started murmuring. Within 10 minutes, everyone walked off. The spell was broken, and Karen's power started to fade for real. But people like Karen don't go quietly. She tried everything, impersonating city inspectors, filing complaints, even calling the local news. The reporter showed up, saw the paperwork, and left without even rolling camera. After that, Karen lost it, screaming across the street, calling me toxic. Her husband, poor guy, just shook his head and apologized when she wasn't looking. You could feel her unraveling. The final battle came after she tried to rally the neighborhood to petition the county, claiming I was neglecting public property. I showed up at the meeting, deed in hand, let everyone see the truth on a projector screen. Karen's laptop froze. Her lies fizzled, and when she stormed out, the room broke into applause, not for me, but for the end of her reign. 2 days later, a moving truck came. She was gone by sundown. After Karen left, Maplewood Court felt like a different world. Kids played on the pavement, neighbors joked about her made-up citations. People actually started planting flowers and sitting outside again. I repaved the street, put up a new sign, "Welcome to Maplewood Court." Private, peaceful, proud. And every morning I'd look down that quiet road and feel something like relief, not victory, just peace. But here's the thing about peace. It's not a trophy. It's a daily choice. Every once in a while I'll find an anonymous note in my mailbox, probably from Karen, saying I'll never own real peace. Maybe she's right. Maybe nobody really does. But as long as we remember that communities aren't built on rules but on respect, I figure we'll do just fine. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you stand your ground, let the paperwork speak for itself, or just give in and hope the noise goes away? Drop a comment, share your own neighbor war stories, and let's hear what justice really means to you. And if you think Maplewood's saga is over well in this world, you never know who's going to move in next.